Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. 10 reasons why you should own silver. Let's explore. Indeed, we can probably think of a whole lot more than just 10. I'm going to be referencing a newly published document here that kind of puts things in perspective. It's obviously from a company that promotes silver. They have the largest physically backed ETF, silver ETF. It's Sprott, and some of you probably have heard of them. Nonetheless, 10 reasons to own silver in this document here. Fascinating indeed. We know that there's a lot of different good reasons. Some of this information you probably have heard before, but it's good to kind of get it again, especially in today's environment, and to kind of reinforce some of our good reasons and to justify holding the metal. It's been used throughout the ages as a medium of exchange, as governments continue to debase fiat currencies, and really, in a sense, they're not really debasing, they're just flooding the market with more fiat currencies. Silver's hard asset and store of value qualities should help protect investor wealth. And they say should. There are times when it doesn't for many different reasons. Because of the industrial uses that is critical in manufacturing and many of the technologies of tomorrow. But when supply chain issues cause a disruption there, sometimes the demand can wane for a period. And I think that's part of the reasons why we're seeing the prices low where they're at right now. It makes silver not just an attractive store of value, but one that stands to benefit alongside major technological shifts. So, the first reason is something that is undisputable, undeniable. Silver is one of the world's oldest forms of currency. And it's not only that it's one of the oldest forms of currency, it is the most widely used throughout history. Currency as a medium of exchange for goods and services, and historically it has represented physical money in the form of coins and paper as well. Silver's earliest known use as currency was in the Mesopotamian shekel nearly 5,000 years ago. Since then, silver has touched nearly every major civilization's currency. And then number 2 is silver is a great entry point for first-time precious metals investors. Silver is often viewed as a suitable first option for investors looking to venture into the world of precious metals investing. Silver, also known as the people's money, is less expensive per ounce than other precious metals and shares many of the same desirable qualities. And I can vouch for that. Anecdotally, I've witnessed on my just over 9 years on YouTube many channels who have the word silver in their name have matured along and have started out stacking silver first and have moved to gold, or at least diversified into gold as well, but they definitely started out with silver and before moving into gold. I've seen it many times, too many of these channels to count, and also other folks that I know that don't have channels as well that have started out with silver and have diversified later into gold. We see in this table, you're looking at it below, that silver has traded at an average of $20.38 per ounce over the past 10 years. That's over the past 10 years. And you look at that average, that's really the best way to measure this. Far lower than the per ounce prices of gold, platinum, and palladium. Silver's lower relative price also makes it more accessible currency and savings vehicle for smaller transactions. And now you look at where the prices are for these metals over the 10-year average and where they are at today. Silver is now currently trading above that average price. And again, statistics can mean or be bent to say anything, but I would say still that's a pretty good measure that silver's kind of doing okay, even though obviously over the past year or two it has not performed and kept up with inflation. Now, the American Silver Eagle is quite special. We know that it has kept up with inflation in terms of buying the coin. It's very expensive to buy it, but you do get rewarded, at least to some level, when you go to sell your Silver Eagles. First issued in 1986, the American Silver Eagle 1-ounce coins are the best-selling silver coin in the world. The best-selling silver coin in the world, hands down, is American Silver Eagle, which means that it is the best-selling bullion coin in the world, because obviously more silver eagles have been sold than gold eagles. The American Silver Eagle is the official silver bullion coin of the United States of America. First released by the United States Mint on November the 24th, 1986, from legislation authored in 1985, it is struck only in the 1 ounce size, which is a nominal face value of $1 and guaranteed to contain 1 troy ounce of 3/9 pure silver. In fact, its metallic content is 0.9993. Believe it or not, its content, weight, and purity are certified and guaranteed by the United States Mint and government. Number 3, industrial applications garner the most silver demand. And that really is true. Silver is a white metallic element that is resistant to corrosion, moisture, and alkalis, and is basically indestructible on a molecular level. Silver is moldable and malleable as well, making it ideal to create a variety of goods. Silver is the second most used commodity on Earth, lagging only behind oil. Amazing to think about it. The second most used, probably most diverse as well. Industrial buyers drive more than 50% of silver demand. By comparison, coins and bars for investment, jewelry, and silverware combined account for 46% of demand. The white metal's unique properties make it nearly impossible to substitute, and its uses span a wide range of application. For example, silver is used in producing catalysts. It is critical in new innovations, helping to build clean energy future. Silver is highly used commodity with a steady demand stream, for sure. And that's why I'm bullish on silver for this year, even though we've seen prices fall last year. Industrial buyers drive more than 50% of silver demand, and we can see in this chart here. Photography is narrowing greatly, but it certainly is being replaced by photovoltaics. Industrial applications include solar panels, by the way. You see that coins and bars account for only 22%, which means that is why much of the silver squeeze really didn't have the effect that many had hoped it would. It's also an industrial metal, second only to oil. Pretty amazing. More than 10,000 uses due to its unique characteristics, including the most reflective of all the metals. It's a great conductor of heat and electricity, strongly resists corrosion and oxidation, second most malleable and tactile next to gold. It has antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. So the fourth reason is silver plays an integral role in technology, especially innovations critical to fostering a more environmentally friendly future. You can kind of lump that in with 3, but I think it is promising to see that this is where we are moving, even in the free market. But there's also government regulation wanting to push us there even faster, which I think in many ways is unfortunate. The free market will take care of it. We're moving there anyway, but nonetheless, that means that we're probably going to see a greater push for green energy technologies, which means you're going to need more silver for that. And so, it's interesting to see. There's some other little side notes here about how silver is utilized. But let's move on to number 5. Silver demand is growing, with renewables taking a greater share. That again builds on point number 4. Industrial demand for silver continues to grow. Silver demand from photovoltaics and the technology for light conversion to electricity within solar panels has grown at a rate of 8% per annum since 2012. As a percent of total silver demand worldwide, demand from photovoltaics alone is currently 11.3% compared to just 5.6% in 2012. And so that being said, a lot of that silver that's being utilized for those technologies largely is going to be consumed for those applications and is going to stay there. Yes, some solar panels will be recycled. I have some that are. I've sent them out for throwing them away to be recycled because of some bad panels I had in my home. But most of them have done well and are staying there. Number 6, Silver is a physical asset which cannot be hacked, erased, or inflated away. Very true. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of mining of silver since 1900s. There's been a flood of new silver that has come in from the Comstock lodes in the 1800s, but nonetheless, by and large, a lot of those stockpiles have been processed and utilized. There's not much, especially not much primary silver mining left. Silver has served as a critical store of value and medium of exchange for millennia due to its fixed supply, broad adoption, and safe haven quality. While fiat currencies such as the US dollar are widely used and offer price stability, they do not have the fixed supply and can be printed at the will of governments. We're seeing that today for sure with QE4 to infinity. An increasing money supply means that over the long term, fiat currencies may lose purchasing power relative to inflation. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin have gained significant popularity in recent years due to meteoric price returns, while Bitcoin is the fixed supply and can be an alternative to fiat currencies like silver. The price volatility of Bitcoin is likely too high for it to be considered a reliable store of value. Cyber security may also pose unforeseeable risk, including cryptocurrency assets are held digitally and have yet to be fully regulated. So it looks like Sprott's admitting to the volatility of silver, making it somewhat questionable to some extent, at least in recent years, as a store of value. Nonetheless, we can see here the amount of silver has been mined. Pretty amazing to see here. We've got a comparison of the amounts of palladium, platinum, gold, and silver mined throughout history. What an amazing little infographic we have here. Platinum has 8,000 tons, 7 meter cube. Palladium has 8,000, just over 8,000 tons, and a 9 meter cube square, which I don't understand the statistics. I always thought palladium was rarer than platinum by 20 times. And they're showing the same numbers for platinum and palladium, but different size cubes. A little bit odd there, but nonetheless. Gold is 154,000 tons. Pretty amazing. Silver is 1.5 million tons, a 52 millimeter cube. So there you have it. Very interesting indeed. Gold's is a 21 meter cube now, but nonetheless, a single grain of silver can be pressed into a thin film 150 times thinner than the average sheet of paper. That's pretty interesting. And gold is even more malleable, what it can do, but that's pretty cool, pretty interesting indeed here. 7. Silver has low correlation to other asset classes. Many major asset classes are highly correlated, which means that they tend to move in the same direction at the same time. This is because many assets like stocks, real estate, commodities all tend to rise and fall with economic performance and investor sentiment. The price of silver is driven by different factors than many other assets, leading to low correlation. In other words, silver's performance moves independently may help serve as a return diversifier within a broad multi-asset portfolio. Very true. In fact, we've seen that with copper, nickel, and other metals this year. Silver down, those metals up. And 8, silver is inexpensive relative to gold. Kind of piggybacking on our prior point, but worth noting, gold to silver ratio has been a long-used method to determine the relative value between gold and silver. Because gold and silver share many of the same investment qualities, investors either tend to hold both or use them interchangeably. Currently, gold is trading at a premium to silver, as well as above the long-term average, which tends to be around 50. I would think that number is actually closer to 60, but nonetheless, it means that gold generally trades 50 times the cost of silver. That gives silver a compelling value relative to gold. In other words, people think that silver is undervalued. Although I'd be very careful going down that road and study this a little bit more, because I think that we're, in a sense, in a new normal. And that new normal would be the mid-60s to low 70s, and right now we're around 80. Number 9. Silver has attracted a new subset of investors. Indeed it has, especially after the silver squeeze movement. Common perception is that precious metal investors tend to be conservative, looking to preserve accumulated wealth and hedge against market risk. While silver also has these investors, it has recently garnered a unique and much different cohort of investors. In 2020, the phrase silver squeeze hit the press as retail investors from Reddit and Twitter piled into the metal in an attempt to push up prices from the lows in 2020 at $11.98 an ounce and to its peak at $29.13 per ounce over the last year. Silver appreciated by 143.16%. That's in the paper markets. That kind of movement did not happen in the physical markets. It went up like crazy in the physical markets due to premiums. Is the silver squeeze community the gold bugs of the youth generation? In reality, while silver is more volatile than gold, the average of silver's 10 best returning years have also been nearly double that of gold and nearly triple that of stocks. I think that's because of silver's volatility that we talked about before. Average of 10 best calendar year returns, we can see the silver wins between over gold and the S&P 500. Finally, number 10. There have been times throughout history where precious metals have performed well, namely during periods of fiat currency debasement, excessive money printing, and inflation. Silver may be this strong complement to gold. Because gold and silver share many of the same investment qualities, investors may often use them interchangeably. For those investors with a strong conviction, adding silver alongside gold may help boost returns. Diversify, for sure. And it is more volatile, tends to outperform gold and underperform gold in those regards. But nonetheless, very interesting indeed. Here we can see the physical bullion trust for Sprott. PSLV is the one that I talked about for sure. Very interesting indeed. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are on this infographic and paper here. This publication from Sprott. Fascinating indeed. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.